Report writing is something we all do in school. We are writing reports to admin, or we're writing reports to our team lead, or we're writing reports to parents at the end of the term, or at half term, or at the end of every week. Even in our communications book for preschoolers or some primary schools that also make use of communication book, we write reports every day at the end of the day to talk about what the child was able to do in school, or if there's any issue, or if there's any assignments, or anything, or responding to emails and all. So we write reports every day. And I know that it can be also a daunting task. It can be challenging at times. I remember when I started teaching as well, and I was told that, oh, you write a report. I said, report should we just write comment and say, oh, Ade has performed excellently well. Enjoy your holiday. See you next time. I was like, no, that's not a report. A report should be detailed. A report should at least should have more facts and all. And I was like, really? So how do you do that? How do you do that? How do you do that? Along the line, I got used to it, and now I can say I can write a report. So I'm going to look at what a report is, how to write a report. I'll share my screen shortly. Let me just do that now. Okay. So we'll be looking at report writing. We all know effective report writing. So we're looking at the techniques to what was it called? To employ when writing reports. We are looking at let's look at the objective, sorry. The importance of report writing. Why should you write reports? So we're looking at importance to the parents. Why is it important for a parent to get reports? Or why is it important for us to write reports to a parent? Why is it important for us to write reports? Why is it important for the school to get reports? That's the part of report writing to the school, excuse me. Then the importance of report writing to you as the teacher. We're going to also break that into 3 parts and look at those parts. Also look at types of reports. What type of report are you supposed to write? Some schools write only end of term reports. Some write assessment reports. Some write there's so many reports that you write. Which one should you write and which one should you not write? We're looking at report structure. What structure should you follow when writing your report? Should you just jump to the point and say, oh, your child is a dullard, or your child don't know how to read and write, or your child always coming to school late and all that? No, what structure should you follow? Then we're looking at the process as well. What process should you take when you're writing your report? Then the techniques. So we're looking at what words are you supposed to make use of? Are you supposed to use big grammar? So you can say, this child, yeah, her head is there, or his head is there. She speaks big grammar, but you've forgotten that the parents or whoever is reading it may not be familiar with some of those and what's called words that you're making use of, and to them to seem as if, okay, what's this rubbish? What are you writing? Just give to me in simple what's called terms, and let me be able to comprehend and know what you're saying. Because it's easy for people to miscommunicate when we write, to get to get it wrong. Everyone is writing. When you're talking verbally, yes, they easily get what you're saying and all, but when you're writing, they can read it in 1,000 different ways. And it's not left for you to say, no, that's not what I'm trying to say, this is what I'm trying to say. So it's better for you to write it in clear, simple terms. And the common mistakes to avoid when writing your report. So like 6 things we're going to look at, then examples of a report. Yeah, that's it. And also how you can make use of AI as well to help in your report writing. Example, look at Grammarly and the usual chat GPT as well. Yeah. Okay, so let's go into it. Importance of report writing. So like I said, we're looking at importance of report writing to a parent, to the school, and to you as what was it called? As the teacher. Why is it important to write reports? Excuse me, please let me just close my neighbors are disturbing me. Sorry. Yes, excuse me. Sorry, my camera might be dark. There's no light, so I had to open the door, and they are really disturbing. So you might not really see my face clearly. I'm sorry about that. Okay, so importance of report writing to, let's start from the parents or to the parents. Why do we write reports to our parents, or why should our parents get our guest reports? So the basic thing is what it provides what's called feedback on the child's academic progress, okay, or behavior and well-being. That's the main importance of writing a report to the parents, or the main reason why a parent should get a report, so they know they've got their child or their children to your school, and at the end of every week they're expecting, or every day or every time they're expecting to get a report to tell me, okay, how has my child been in school, as what's called is my child learning, is my child has spent the last 3 months in school, what has he or she been able to do. So you write that report so that you can get that valuable feedback and say, okay, your child, this is where your child is good at, this is where your child is struggling, this is where your child needs to work on, and this is what you've done so far. What's called, it also helps them to understand how they can support their child. Okay, so if I okay, when you come, when they Zoom school, you do your profiling, you do your baseline assessments, and you say, okay, for you as a child, you know where the child is. Yeah. At that first week, you are not so quick to send the report home. You wait, because definitely you're just coming to your class, or maybe you're just coming in from half term, or sorry, from the long break, or the or second term or third term break into your class. They use that 1 week or 2 weeks to play, to drink ice cream and all that. So definitely you're going to observe and say, okay, this is where the child is. At the end of 2 weeks, you can now say, okay, I've observed this child for 2 weeks or for 3 weeks, and this is where the child is. You can send a message to the parent and say, oh, this is where your child is. We need this support at home as well. So we notice that your child, when we give assignments home, the child doesn't do the assignments, the child doesn't submit assignments early, or comes back without his or her notes, or comes back with scattered notes and all. It helps parents to know how they can support their child's learning and development. If you just say, okay, let me wait it, that's why I said you need to know when I'm going to send reports. Okay, imagine you are waiting until the end of term and say, oh, your child doesn't know how to spell. For a whole 3 months, my child has been with you, and now at the end of time, you're not telling me that my child doesn't know how to spell. No parents would like that. So it helps them to know how they can support their child, and also talk about the academic progress. Yeah, when we get the types of reports, we talk about the types of reports and the ones you're supposed to send when and when. Then for the school, how is the report writing important to the school? It enables what to track progress. Okay, so in every school, the first point of contact is what is the admin. Yeah. So if you are if the school or the admin or the administrator is not getting, or they're not getting feedback from you as the teacher, they're not getting a report about the child. The parent calls and say, oh, I noticed that my child was finding or struggling doing addition and subtraction of numbers. They've gotten that report already. They can answer on your behalf, at least as the first point of contact, and answer, say, oh yes, we've noticed, we've gotten this feedback as well. I'm having something you're working on in school. We're just trying to see, trying the best means to see what to do before escalating the matter and all that. So admin also what needs to get that report. It helps them to track the progress of individuals, of individual students, and the overall performance. They can also look at that report and say, okay, where are we getting it wrong as a school? Do I need, is it the school, or is it the teacher? Is your teaching method okay? Are we doing well as a school, or we're not doing so well as a school? It also what helps with that's what's called strategic decision about curriculum development. Can say, okay, or social education can say, okay, based on this point that we're getting, we notice that our child are not doing so well when it comes to physical activities or physical education. Oh, that means we need to what? Probably allocate more resource to physical development or physical and education. Oh, I know that this class, they're really struggling with this. Okay, do we need to move one teacher from this class to this class? Okay, it also helps them what in planning as well, and say, okay, if we're getting this report at the end of the term or the week concerning this child or concerning this class, we need to what? It helps us to plan better and say, okay, do we need a lab, for example, or do we need what's called an art room, or do we need to get more teachers in to help? It is what important that they get such what's called reports. And it also helps in what? In to demonstrate the effectiveness of what? Of a teacher. Okay, how instructional is that teacher? How well is the teacher executing the task? So at the end of the term, let's say for example in maths, you see that a class, the highest score is, let's say, always 50%, 50%, 50%, 50%. It will help you. You start to wonder, okay, what's going on? Is it that the teacher is not delivering the lesson as the teacher should? Then you start asking questions, okay, do we need to help you, the teacher, or do we need to change the teacher, or do we need to what's called to get any more resources like we discussed earlier? So it helps what to determine the effectiveness of what of a teacher. Okay, to see if that teacher is really effective in the class, or that teacher is not really effective. There are times when you hire a teacher and say, oh, this teacher will be fit for this class. And at the end of the day, it's clear that teacher is not fit for that class, but he or she is fit for what? For another class. That is one of the importance of what? Of report writing. Therefore, you as the teacher, why is it important? It provide a clear picture, okay, of the student's academic performance, the growth, the strength, and areas of what? Of improvement. Okay, every week or at the end of every class, you also you check your students, you give them summative assessment or formative assessment, and you use that to check your class against next week and say, okay, based on this assessment I've given these children or these students, based on this task or assignment I've given them, you can see that they are still struggling with this topic. Okay, with that, you can now plan for your next class. Okay, it also helps you to know their strength and say, okay, wow, I discovered that this child is finding it difficult to do well or find it difficult in maths or find it difficult in English. Okay, how do we support this child? Okay, so for you as a teacher, it's also important for us to write a report. Don't just say, okay, because at the end of time, people are going to write report comment. No, every week or every day, ensure that what you have, even if it's a line, okay, of report, write it down about that child. Okay, if you work in a school where you practice subject teaching, that's it, you have a teacher for math, a teacher for science, a teacher for history and all that, and there's definitely going to be a class teacher, a main class teacher. It helps you, the class teacher, to know what is going on with the other subjects. Okay, you can say, oh, at the end of this week, okay, I've collected my report from each of these teachers. You can now use that to analyze and say, oh, I can see that this child is still struggling with what in this subject. Okay, what is going on? You can call that teacher and say, okay, I noticed that one of the students is struggling. What should we do? Okay, you get to observe and say, okay, I even need to observe the teacher in class and see if that child is not delivering the way he or she should deliver. Okay, it also helps you to communicate important information about that's your student to the various stakeholders. Yeah. So let's say you are doing your PTC, for example, that's Parent Teachers Conference. With your report, you can communicate important information. You can say, okay, this is what we've noticed over time. Like I said, reports can come in verbally, reports can also be what can be written. It depends on what you are done. But if you've not been taking note, that's why I say it's important for you to take note. Don't just wait to the end of the term. Don't just say, because my school says we only send report at the end of the term, so it's only the end of the report. No, you as a teacher, your job is to what is like when Mr. was talking about profiling. You profile your students at interval. It's the same thing. So you write reports about them at interval. Those reports are what will make up at the end of term reports, and it's also what keeps you informed as a teacher. You can also use to evaluate yourself and say, okay, this is where we are getting it wrong before it escalates, before it becomes full blown. This is where we are getting it wrong. Let us adjust, let us work towards that. It also promotes professionalism. Okay, that's it ensures fairness, what's called accuracy, and what's called objectivity in your report. So you know, and not just come at the end of time and say, I'm going to allow this child, let me just give this child this. No. Okay, you're writing your report over time. It ensures that there's fairness, because you are going back to what you've written. So they started school first to second week, you've written report about them. Fourth week, you've written report about them. Fifth week, you've written report about them. Those reports you are writing afterwards, because you have to go back, okay, and check the previous report and say, oh, okay, this is where the child has improved. You are just you're not just waiting and say, let me just write something for this child. Oh, I don't like this child, she's always disturbing. So you just say because of that, at the end of time, you just write what's called what is not it, or I'm not being fair or being accurate in what's in my report. So as a teacher, it is important. Reporting is important for you because what, like I said, if I say collaboration, it's provide a clear picture of the students' academic progress, and for the school as well, it helps in planning, resource allocation, what's called curriculum development, and all. And for the parent, it helps them to get feedback about what their child's academic progress, behavior, and general well-being. Okay. Then we move into the types of reports. So what report should you prepare as a school? So like I said, there are some schools that prepare only end of term reports, yeah. But the purpose that for which you've come or you go for training is to learn new things, isn't it? And even though it's only end of term report you prepare in your school, but you as a teacher, that's you as an individual, like I said, you don't have to wait until the end of term. Okay, your what you're after is what is that child to develop that total child, isn't it? To ensure that your students are learning, to ensure that your students are progressing. Okay, so what report should you prepare? Progress reports. Progress reports can be prepared what at interval. Okay, you're not waiting till end of term or end of year or at half term. Progress report can be every 2 weeks. Progress report can be every day. Okay, progress report can be what every week. Okay, you check and say, okay, how has this child progressed? Has this child is there any improvement? It helps. What does the progress report do to you? It helps you to plan better for that subject for the next week or for the next class. Okay, it helps you over time to that. Always say, oh, data is important. If you've not been writing this progress report, for example, you don't have data to fall back on. But if you've written this report, you can sit down and ask them and say, okay, I've written this report. These are the we've noticed this child. This child has either what's called improved or this child is regressing. It helps you to plan and say, okay, what do we do? How should we help this child? Do we need to be structured? Do we need to be planned? Do we need to be strategized? Do we need to look at our scheme or our lesson delivery or look at our teacher? Progress report is what is important. So you do that every week. It can, like I said, it can just be probably 4 lines, 3 lines, just talk about the child and say, oh, today I know that this child is not doing so well in addition and subtraction, for example, or this child it can also be behavior. Oh, this child anytime this child eats apple, he or she throws tantrum. You watch that. That's a part. You start to watch that and say, okay, we've been noticing this thing. We've been noticing this thing. We've been noticing this thing. Is it that there's something wrong? Is it that we need to also to check? For example, yesterday when we were having our CPD, one of our teachers mentioned and said, oh, that there's this child that we just whistle, like just start to whistle. And when you call his attention and say, okay, why are you whistling? He will say, oh, he's not he didn't whistle. It will look so like he will be shocked and wonder, why are you lying? I didn't whistle, so why are you telling me that I'm whistling and all? So we're like, okay, if we've not been so we said, okay, so one of the channels said, oh, maybe that there's a condition like that maybe a child, you as an individual will do something subconsciously and you won't know that you did that thing. Okay, when they accuse you, people say, I didn't do it, I didn't do it, I didn't do it. Okay, now what do we do? Say, okay, let us watch, okay, and see if that thing is what is reoccurring or it will reoccur or is like that. That's the progress report. We are keeping tab on that. That's the data for us. And I say, okay, in this class, I know this child, so I noticed it in my class. That child, I noticed it in my class, that child, I noticed it in my class. And we can now pull that report together and say as data, as fact, and say, okay, if you need to call a meeting with the parents or if call it what's called a top level meeting and say, oh, this is what we've noticed about this child. Though over time, you can show them the track, the record, and say, oh, based on our progress report that we do every week or every day or every class, this is what we've noticed about this child. Do we need what do we need to do? Then I ask that will provide solution. But I think you've not been keeping that record or that report. At the end of the day, you are leaving it for the parents to now come and say, oh, I noticed that my child does this. Oh, does he do it in school or something? And I say, yes, so we've been noticing until now. It's now be as if, oh, you as a school, you're not as a child, you're not doing what your job. Okay. Then we have about assessment report as well. Assessment report that's our normal assessment when you do maybe your first time assessment, your second time your first CA or your second CA or your third CA or your fourth CA or your fifth CA or whatever CA, how many CAs you do, it is that assessment report. That's assessment report. That's okay. My child scored. So you have those subjects, you have the grade, and say, okay, in this subject, your child scored 40% or 50% or 60% or 70%. Okay. Progress reports can let me go back. Progress report can be what's called be data that's numerical and also and written as well. Okay, so it doesn't necessarily have to be only written or only numerical, but most of the assessment reports are numerical. That's only putting the scores. It has to do with scores. So my child scored 50% in this subject, or 60% in that subject, or 70% in that subject. Then incident report as well. Incident report is when something is wrong. So let's say a child fell down on the playground and got injured, or what's called, or had one what's called injury or the other. You are sending an incident report. Okay, you are saying, oh, your child in school fell down. These are things we put in place. We've given them what's called probably first aid treatment and all those things. We're letting parents know. Okay, not that the child will fall down and just sorry, and leave it. You won't tell the parent. Child don't get to and say, oh, mommy, I fell down. Or the parent will now see the mark on the child and now start and say, oh, what happened? I noticed this mark on my child. And I say, yes, your child fell down in class or fell down on the playground. No, okay. So incident report is what is important. Then end of term report or end of year report. So that's cumulative. Okay, that's what I said. So now, if you are writing your end of year report, so your end of year report would have what's called the scores or the grades, then a comment. Okay, so if it's in primary school, you can have a general comment. If it's in secondary school, you can have comments per subject and a general comment. So your general comment, for example, you are getting what information from your progress report, from your assessment report. Okay, you're not just waiting till then and start thinking and say, oh, what happened to this child? Has this child increased? Improved? What happened to this child? Behaviorally, what should I write about what's called this child's behavior and all that? You're not starting to think and lose it, because you've been keeping all these reports. You can fall back to your progress report and say, oh, this and this, and then you're picking from it. You can fall back to your assessment report, okay, and pick from it to form your end of them report, or that comment. Okay, so that these are the other types of reports. We have the IEP, we have for special needs and all that, but these are the ones we are focusing on for today's class. So I said progress reports, assessment reports, incident reports, and end of year reports. Okay. Any questions so far? Okay, let's continue. So now, how should your report look? What structure should you follow when writing your report? You don't, like I said, you don't just go straight to the point and say, oh, good afternoon, dear parents, or good afternoon, Tishe's mommy. Tishe does not know how to read. Tishe is so stubborn. Tishe does not even greet. Tishe is so rude. Thank you. Enjoy your break. See you next time. Or enjoy your week. See you next week. No, there's a structure you have to follow. Okay, there's a structure you have to follow. What are the structures you have to follow? Number one is we have the introduction, we have the body, and the conclusion. So there's this what's called, you all know, at least we know a burger, we know, or if you know a burger, we know sandwich. Yeah, you have the bread, then you have the gbogbo, that's the meat, the lettuce, the what's it called, the cheese, the tomato, and all that, and you have another bread. Yeah, so you are packaging that report. Do you understand? You are packaging that comment. You are introducing that. You are starting with what? With something nice about the child. Oh, it's been wonderful having Tisha in class this time. Tisha has been such a blessing. She she works well in class. She does this, she does that, and you move into the body, which is the cocoa. What do you want them to know about Tisha? Is there something going on? Is there something wrong? Is there something not going according to plan? For example, if it can be behavioral, it can be academical, and say that's what the body, that's the tomato, the lettuce, the meat, the onions, and the barbecue sauce, and whatever what it is. You are putting that sauce in between. So now imagine a parent opening that report and see, oh, that wonderful what's called introduction. Talking so nice about Tishay, about how Tishay is in class, about how Tishay has been a joy to have in your class, and all that. Even if with that, there's no way the parent will go to the body and read the main thing and get angry, because what you've started on a good note. Do you understand? Then you end it again with what? With a very nice conclusion. Okay, your conclusion can now have what you plan to do, or the solution. Okay. Oh, I will probably will work more on this and this and this and this next time, or we do this and this and this next time, or next time. You end it with that. So the parent has what? We read the nice introduction, go to the main thing that you're trying to let them know about their child, and end it with what? A nice conclusion. Okay, we all know how it is when we eat burger, right? Your first bite will be that bread, isn't it? Followed by the main thing and what's called the bread. That's how it is. So let's always be in that format, in that manner. Okay. So let's look at this sample, this report sample, and let's see. Like I said, the introduction, which is the bread, the lettuce, the whatever, and the conclusion. Now, see, that has been so nice having the opportunity to work with the assignment during our second year. She has grown a great deal in all areas of the curriculum. That I said to be more vocal and confident in expressing her thoughts in school. She's now known to initiate and sustain conversations with a few of her classmates and decide to build a relationship with them. She has also become quite participative in class and she readily answers simple questions. Suggestion: over the summer, she would still benefit from content within writing and basic math practice to keep her skills strong. We truly appreciate her for the effort she has put into her learning and the smile she has put into our classroom. Have a wonderful summer break. Okay, there's that introduction, there's that body, and there's that conclusion. So your conclusion can be suggestions. Your conclusion can just put a nice what's it called ending. Like I said, we should appreciate her for the effort she has put into our learning and the smile she has put into our classroom. Okay, that's the structure. That's what a report should follow: the introduction, the body, and the conclusion. Yeah. Then we move into the process. So what process should you follow when writing your report? Like I said, you can't just jump to writing a report. Okay, you can't just jump into writing a report or your end of term report or your class report. There's always that process. Number one is gathering information. Okay, that's why your progress report is important. That's why that weekly report is important. You gather your information. Okay, all necessary information. It can be what's it called? As no matter how small it is, gather them, put them together. Okay, then you do what? You organize the report. So you are saying, okay, I've gathered my report. Let me now organize this report. Okay. How do you organize that? You're going back to your structure and say, okay, what will be the introduction? Okay. So I have to put all these things into heading and say, okay, there's this heading, there's a subheading. Probably it depends on how it is, how you want to put it. You can say introduction, you can say observation, okay. Then you can say suggestion, or yes, suggestion for improvement, and conclusion. That's you're organizing them into those three subheadings or those three headings. That would help you to say, okay, so introduction, what should I put for my under introduction? Okay, for for observation, what have we observed concerning this child across the term, or across the week, or across what's called half term? That will be under your observation. Then your suggestion, based on the observation, based on what we've observed, what solution or what suggestion are we going to put in place to ensure that, yes, we mitigate or we maximize or we also we reduce whatever you've observed. Okay, and the conclusion. How should we conclude this message? That's you organizing what the report. Then writing the report. Now you've gathered your information, you've planned to say, okay, these are the edits I'm going to follow. Now, how do you write it? Okay, you are writing your report in what? In a clear and concise manner. Okay, you are not mixing different things, you're not bringing different things into it. No, it is clear, it is concise, it is straight to the point. Just as when you're writing your objective, your objective is what is specific, right? This your report should be specific. Talk about those things. Let it be clear. Okay, use appropriate tone. Okay, like I said, when I started writing a report, I almost come. My boss would tell me and say, "Oh, put yourself in the parents' shoe. Write it as if you are writing to the parents. You are the parents. How would you feel?" That's the tone. That's how you're going to write your report. If I'm the parent, if I get this report and for my child's school, how will I feel reading this report? That's the tone at which you are going to use to write your report. Okay. It is also important to use proper grammar and punctuation. You are a school. No matter the subject you teach, even if you're not you don't teach English, as a teacher, you're expected to write in proper using proper grammar and punctuation. Those are because I'm a math teacher, that's why I don't know when to put comma, I don't know when to put full stop, I don't know when to put apostrophe, or I don't know when to when to do this or when to do that. No. Okay. If you that's like I said, we'll look into some of AI tools. You've written out your report. Okay, you can now take that report into Grammarly. And Grammarly will identify the errors. Will tell you, okay, you need to rephrase this, you need to put a comma here, you need to put a full stop here, and all that. You do that, you package it and send them. So your report should be written in proper grammar and punctuation. Okay, it is important. Use a nice tone. Okay, and be clear and concise. Okay, at the end of the day, you edit and proofread. Okay, so you look at your report. Don't just say, because I have a team lead that will look at my reports and then just do it and send it to the team lead. No. Okay, remember that you are also presenting yourself. Like I said, remember when we talked about presence of report to a school, you are presenting yourself to the school, isn't it? If you write a report that is not nice, that is just that doesn't have correct tone, no punctuation, no full stop, how do you think your team lead or your head of school will look at you? They will say, this teacher doesn't even know how to write common report. So how sure are we that she's doing what she's supposed to do in class? How sure are we that the students are even learning? Okay. They also look at you and say, you are not being accountable or being responsible. They also look at you and say, you are being lazy because you're just feel that or they say, you're not even a good administrator. You just there's someone that will check now. Let that person go and let that person go and check. I don't have time. Let me just do what I want to do. And then if the person likes, check. You don't like, don't even check. No. Okay. Write a good report. Okay. Edit and proofread. You have this also these tools at your disposal that can help you to edit, and help you to proofread and highlight what you need to change. Make use of them. Check for spelling mistakes. Check for formatting errors. If you have to type your report in what's called on using Microsoft Word, don't just type it anyhow. Check your formatting. Check your numbering. Okay. Don't what's called, if you know that full justification would not work for you, then keep to your to left alignment or to right alignment. Okay, check your numbering, check your spacing. Okay, ensure that what your report is clear and easy to understand. Like I said, it's easy for someone for there to be miscommunication, especially in writing. So when you're writing, you are checking to ensure that what this thing is clear at least 90% to you. Even if I send it home or I send to my team lead too would see it or see the picture the way I've seen the picture. Do you understand? So we said what? Gather your information, organizing your report. Okay, write the report based on the headings you have, on the subheadings you have, on the information you've gathered, and what edit and what and proofread. It is important. You know, there are times when we are writing reports, and I don't know if it happens to you, even if you are typing or you are writing with pen or with pen and on paper. There are times when you think that you've written a word, the word you said it in your head though, but you didn't write it down or you didn't type it. I just feel that it's there. Now imagine that what you didn't go back to what to check and just saying like that, and your team may call and say, this is it. I say, but this was in my it's in my head. That's not that one. You didn't check. Okay. And another thing again that Tubidin does is what when you write and you're going back to check, you are getting more inspiration, isn't it? You are getting more ideas. Because this thing will not work. Okay, let me rephrase it. Oh, this thing will not work. Let me rephrase it. That's why it's important for you to always cross-check your work. Okay, cross-check your report before sending it out. Yeah. Any questions so far? Any questions so far? No question. Okay. Then the techniques. What technique should you employ when writing your report? Okay. Number one is what? Is to use clear and concise language. Okay. Use clear and concise language. Use language that is what is easy to understand, that is clear. Okay. Don't use too many jargons or technical terms or jargons. For example, our school, we employed pedagogy. Oh, we employed that. You as a teacher, you know what pedagogy means, right? But the parents, do they know what pedagogy means? So that's for us, for example. Okay. You're talking about we're going to employ differentiated instruction. Some parents know what it is, but some parents don't know what differentiated what instruction means. They will say, so you want to separate my child? Oh, so you want to segregate my child? Oh, so you want to put my child in another class? No, 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 no. I will not take that. It is wrong. It is this. It is that. Because of what? Of the term that you've used. Okay? That times when you want to write big grammar and use a word that does not flow with that report, but because you just want to put big grammar inside that, you can say, that child knows, I'm good, I'm this, I'm that. No. Okay. Those words may be what unfamiliar to the reader. So you have to use simple, straightforward language to convey your message. Straightforward, go straight to the point, and then what's it called? And then what's called pass the message, let the reader understand what you are trying to say. Avoid jargons. Okay. That's like I said, avoid some unfamiliar technical terms. Okay. Use language that is easily accessible and can be easily understood by the reader or by the audience or by the parents or by your team lead or whoever is checking that report. Another major thing is to use active voice. Okay, use active voice when writing your report. It makes your report more engaging, okay, and easier to read. Okay, so you are using verbs that indicate action, such as you are doing completed or analyzed rather than passive language. Sorry, please excuse me. Sorry, sorry.
I mean, as Larry was speaking, it just occurred to me how a lot of the time, I've seen, not just even in classroom reports, right? If a team leader, for example, says, "Oh, just give me a quick report," maybe they don't even say quick. Just give a report of something that happened in your classroom, and we just go on and on and on. And sometimes it's so confusing for the team leader. They're like, what's this thing that you're saying? Sometimes the words that we use, the word choice that we use is very, very critical. So learn how to use your synonyms and antonyms, right? And that's why I like using Microsoft Word, to be honest, to create reports. When I've created a report, I would just go and search. Let me show you. Larry is sharing, but I would stop his share so that I'll stop his share. He will come back to it once he comes back. So for example, I mean, there's some of you here who I'm sure you're wondering reports, okay? The kind of reports that we write in my school, me, I don't like it all. There are many ways, right? And you can change your report. I always say to people, why are you agreeing with the status quo? Why are you just letting everything pass by you? Why? Why? We don't have to, right? You can actually make a difference and say to yourself, you know what, I want to change the way this thing is happening in my school. If you come to file, this is a Word document, okay? So let me do this quickly. I was hoping to do it maybe when Larry takes a break or just before we finish. So it's good it happened in the middle. I'm going to, while I'm not teaching, I'm trying to conserve my energies because I've honestly been teaching since 10 o'clock and I'm going to be on till like 10 p.m. this evening. After this session, we have another one for assessments, a free session that I'd like to do free sessions and then just to talk about teacher makeover as well in that session. So you want to do an assessment. Maybe your school, you don't like the reports that they're doing. Come here, come to new. Once you click new, you guys know, right? It gives you all sorts of templates that you can use. All right. Come and in your search for reports, in your template, where it says search for templates, type report. Okay, let's see what it brings out. See, it has brought out different types of reports. This one is a project status report. This one is a minutes of a meeting. This one is a planner. It has brought out all these reports that can we use them? May we be unable to use them? Let's see. So typically, I would come in here and check. And if I like the way this one looks, it might not work, so to speak, but guess what? It's still usable. There's nothing that is not usable as far as I'm concerned. Okay, so I'll come here. This is arbitrage report. So I will change this to year 5 report. And change this. So April 10th, 2023. That's already my report. And overview is fine, right? So classroom overview, I'll change to classroom or learning overview. If I don't like learning overview, I might say, okay, what other word can I use for overview? I will come here and I would go to, I just right click, right? When you right click, it brings it out. You go to synonyms. See, learning impression, learning indication, learning summary, learning outcome, learning. So I might say learning summary instead of saying learning. And I would say background. So I don't have to put this one. I can delete that because it's not necessary to what I want to do. So this one here, I can decide to move that up or just leave it there. Right? We might come back and use that later. Or we might even write the child's name here. So Ayonimofe. Let me add Ajayi to it. Ayonimofe, my screen is white. Can you guys see my screen now?
We can see it, but blank.
It's blank. That's strange. Okay, let me stop share. Oh, blank. Okay. That's shocking. That's shocking. Can you see this one? It's still loading. Can you guys see this one?
Yes.
Yes,
okay.
we
Yes,
can.
we can. Yes.
Okay, so let me stop. Let me stop and start again, right? From how I started. I guess that's why okay, so it will be difficult, right? Because it would constantly, because I'm opening up another screen. Anyway, this was the report that I was working on. I changed it to Ayonimofe Ajayi up here, which is the child's name. Here, I can put classroom overview. And this overview can exactly be the same for everybody. And I can go to Chat GTP if I want to, right? I don't have to, but I can decide to go to Chat GTP. And can you see Chat GTP? No.
Yes, no, because you are sharing one.
Yeah.
I think you have to share your entire.
Yeah, I'm sharing that. Yeah, so I can decide to go to ChatGTP and tell it, oh, you know what, write an overview for me of how my class was this term. I have 10 students in the class. We had fun. We had a lot of students. And so it will write it here for me, and I can do so I might come and say, I don't want to use the word amazing, right? So I will right click, right? Once I right click, it will give me synonyms, right? So I just simply go to synonyms and say, remarkable, wonderful, incredible, remarkable. Let me choose remarkable. And that's me choosing remarkable. It just makes it sound better, right? And that's what we can do. We can then talk about, here can be subject review, talk about the subjects. Then I can now go back into the child themselves and say, oh, how your child performed, how your child functioned. And that's you know, that's how we basically can create a fresh report if you're not happy with what they're having. And that's how you can decide to say, oh, I don't want to use this particular word. And don't think too much. Just use what's it called? Use synonyms. Now, because I have Grammarly on my phone, on my laptop, so it is already editing it for me. Can you see that this term was an unremarkable term? It has changed it for me too. It was a remarkable term. And I simply change it. What it is telling me here now is I've added space where I shouldn't have it. And I change it. All these things are AI tools, right? So simply download Grammarly. If you're looking on this screen, if you look up here, you can see Grammarly up there. That's my Grammarly. Right? So I use all these things. Does it mean I cannot speak English? No. I mean, yes. No. Well, you know what I mean? Speak English. But the reality is there are times where I just might be making a mistake and I don't even know, like Larry said. All these things are AI tools. ChatGTP is not the only AI tools. There are tons and tons and tons of AI tools. Tons, I tell you. I'm going to share my screen again. Larry, sorry, I'll hand over your class back to you in a minute. What am I sorry. What am I trying to do here? Sometimes you don't even know what sort of reports to write. So you can do report templates for 5 years old. And I can come here and add .doc. It can be .docs or .doc. Let's put it there. And so what this generally does for you is that it gives you, excuse me, it will give you, so this is different now. It has changed the whole thing entirely.
Because you use experience.
Experience, yes.
Yes.
So it's just giving me some other stuffs. Again, it's still doing
And
that.
it's on book. It's on book.
Oh, it was on book.
Yes.
I didn't even notice that. Thanks, Larry. Yeah, so you see the top here, this is another one. I can decide to do images and to show me images, right? Sometimes that's what I do. I just come and I do images. I look at the image and I go and recreate it. So this is a preschool progress report, for example. I can decide, oh, you know what? I like the way this preschool progress report looks like. Look at that, guys. Social skills are there, September, January, and June. Those are the 3 years. This is work habits is there. And this works, right? Actually, it's not my preschool reports. Right? These are reports that are sitting down there online for you. So if you don't like the way something is happening in your school, why can't we why can't we suggest it? This is another one. This is a financial report template, right? So if you go to all, Now, these ones, you may have to pay for this because they're Twinkle. But if you come to WordPress, annual reporting, how do you structure a report for kids? It's all there. Okay. These are report templates that you can get, right? So it does have things there that you can use, right? Or you can put free. And that's just all that you need to do. And once you do stuff like that, you would notice that you then have templates that you can download. All right, but you'll need to at least do part of the work. And that's some of the issues that we have, right? And it's not just for teachers, to be honest. I work with project teams, and there's some people they just don't want to do the work. And I'm like, you have to do the work. That's why it's called work. You can do it smart, but you do have to do the work. Okay, over to you, Larry.
Okay, thank you, Mr. King. Thank you. Okay, so let me just go back to what we're talking about. So like I said, we're talking about the writing techniques here, and we are looking at using active voice. So like I said, when writing using active voice, it makes your work more engaging, isn't it? That you're using verbs that indicate action, such as completed, okay, such as analyzed, okay, instead of using passive voice, okay, such as was completed or was analyzed, okay. When we look at a report, we do a report together and we look at what's called using the passive voice and the active voice. Even when I put it on what I like about Grammarly is if you put it on Grammarly, for example, it's going to tell you that this is in what in passive voice. Change it to active voice. Okay, so that as you as parent as your reader or the parent is looking at that report, she's following as well. You get, she's not looking at okay, this is what has been done in the past. She's like, okay, she's active, is going on. You get, you also organize your information logically. Like I said, using those headings, using those sub headings, you must ensure that so that it's easy, so that if you are reading the report, you can say, oh yes, you are talking about what's it called, what you've observed or observation. This is suggestion, like the one like the reports we looked at before. Like the sample of the report can say suggestion. So a parent that reads this, okay, this is what we are proposing that my child should do, or that you as a school will do to help my child in whatever you've observed. Do you understand? So you have to make sure of what those words edit, organize your reports. Then use visual aids. Okay. So for example, let's assume you are writing a report to your team about your class progress or what has happened in your class from the beginning of the term to the end of the term. There are some things that you can't just write. You can't just use text alone to explain. Right? You have to be able to make them see it. That's where visual aids comes in. Okay, so they see it. They see what you are talking about. For example, if you look at the blog I used here, this is what like visual aids, isn't it? I'm using to explain how the report should look like. Imagine I just come in and say, oh, the report should have introduction, body and conclusion, should be like a bread with what's called this and on the side. You might find it difficult to understand. But looking at this alone, you can easily picture it, you can easily understand what I'm trying to say. Okay. Your report in class as well, even if you're asking your person, you must not follow the normal norm. That's like what you said. You can change your things, change your own, be creative. Okay, there's a way you can add visual aids to it, like graph, like chart. Like in our school, for example, when we're doing our assessment reports, the assessment report is mostly have to do with scores. We have a graph. Okay, so if you have the scores, you have your table where you have your what's called the subject and the grade. We convert that into graph. So what does it do? It helps the parent to analyze the report and say, oh, my child did well in social studies, or they didn't do well in math, I did well in science, I didn't do well in art. Okay, they can say, oh, when my child is what, or they can easily on their own, they can easily what's it called read that chart and able to decode it and say, oh, my child is doing so well, in my child is more inclined towards to calculation rather than reading. But if you just have it on that table alone, it's difficult for them to compare, because they have to go back to what's called start checking the table and say, oh, this is math. Oh, math 40. Then go back to science. Oh, science 10. It's just difficult. Okay, but if you have it on the chart, on the graph, you can easily see it and flow according to that and say, oh, okay, my child needs to do well. Oh, this is how the highest that my child scored. Let me see if I have one of the first. Let me share and just show you what I'm talking about. Just give me 2 minutes, please. Let me just pick that report. Yes, Miss Mercy.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Larry. My device was malfunctioning when we started, so I didn't really get the aspect of Grammarly. Is it that one has to download it in one's device, or how does it work, please?
Yes, yes, we'll get there. Either you download it or what's called, you just log into that. They have a web version. So I'll show you how to work that when we're done with. When we move to using tech for your reports, I'll show how to give out it.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, I'm trying to show you on a report with a graph. That's a graph. Okay, I have to share. Let me share my screen so you can all see it. Okay, it's loading. Can you all see my screen? Yes. Okay. Can you see? So we have those scores. For example, CRK, you have your score in CRK, you have score in French. Now look at the graph. A parent that sees this reward would be able to analyze the report and say, oh, my son did well in math. My son did not well in art. What's going on? So you get, it just gives you that visual evidence, that easy. It makes it easy for them to interpret. Okay, that's why you have to use visual aid as well in your reports. Okay, so let me go back to okay. Yes, so like you said, use clear and concise language, avoid jargon, use active voice, organize information logically, then use visual aids. Okay, then what are common mistakes you need to avoid? The common mistakes you need to avoid. Number one is what, like we know, you would avoid unclear what's called language. Okay, avoid use of jargons. It's mostly like what was it called, like what we discussed under the techniques. Yeah, the report should follow a structure. Okay, follow the normal structure as well. Then you have to proofread. Okay, you have to avoid use of technical terms. Okay, then don't put irrelevant information. Don't put irrelevant information. Okay, so another one again is you have to also avoid this mistake of not considering your audience. So like I said, when you're writing a report to your parents, you put yourself in that parent's shoes, isn't it, and say, okay, how will this parent read this report or take this report? Okay, you have to have your audience in mind. Do you understand? What's it called? Then always try to be factual. Like it's important for it to be factual. So for example, if you write, oh, your child is not doing so well in math and that one, and they come in for a meeting, there should be facts on ground. There should be evidence on ground to show that yes, your child is not doing so well in this subject area or in this subject. Okay, not just write it there, and when they come, that's why saying, yes, but when you do it in class now, no. whatever you write, even if that's with behavior, for example, let there be what? Be fact. Let there be resource, what's called evidence. Let there be sources on ground to show that yes, this thing happened at so and so date. This thing happened in class. This thing happened was in class. Do you understand? Or at this place or at that place. Always ensure that what avoid that mistake of just writing without what having your facts or your what's called your evidence ready. Okay. Any question? Any question before we move into if I show you Grammarly?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any question?
Yes, sir.
Yes, please ask.
Okay, you said when we are writing reports, in case
So I didn't get that.
you said when we are writing reports, you said
Yes.
you have 5 grams. So example, if a child, a child hits another child, and maybe we complain that the child is very hyperactive, and maybe we want to tell the parents, are we going to be telling them on that day we are playing on the playground, maybe telling on the 10th of April, hit somebody? What you are saying?
Yeah, so that's remember when we talked about the types of report, incident reports, for example. Okay, you can have that under your incident reports. Okay, and also, like I said, one thing like I said when we said is your report is not always does not always have to follow like a particular format or be written. Okay, if something happens as well, like it happens like, oh, maybe something happened and a child hit another child in class, maybe slap another child or kick another child, let the parents know. Okay, let them be aware that, oh, so and so and so happened in class. Do you get to your child and to this child and all that, so that it's not the child that will, don't let the child go home and tell the parents that, oh, a friend of mine slapped me today. For some people feel as, oh, we are putting our, maybe we are putting ourselves outside and not. No, it just let them know that, oh, this is what happened and this is what you, the teacher, have done in class. Do you understand? So if you're now writing, let's now look at that child and say, let's assume that child is having what's called behavioral issues, and you're writing your report at the end of the term, and you definitely have to include that behavioral issue, isn't it? And the parent comes and say, oh, but my child is this. You can say, oh, but remember that when we called about your child spanking someone or hitting someone in class, or the message we sent on that day that your child this one and that one, yes, that is what we are talking about. Okay, that's the fact, or that's evidence I'm talking about in this report. So don't just keep it and say, okay, because it happened. And when you're now writing your end of term report, you now say, your child is struggling behaviorally, or your child is this, is that one behaviorally. And parents now come and say, I don't know about it. Now say, it happened in class. This one, down. Parents has no idea at all that is happening. Do you understand?
Yeah, okay, sir. Thanks.
Yes. Okay, I'm trying to open my Grammarly. Just give me a few minutes. So Grammarly is what's it called? It's like a proofreading software or application. Like I said, you can download it or you can open it on your on the web. Okay, it has the free version and the paid version. Okay, so you can type up what's called a report or anything and put on Grammarly, and automatically it will highlight the errors. Okay, it will also give you what suggestions on what to do. It will rephrase it for you as well as, okay, why not use this? Why not use that instead? So I'm trying to log in to Grammarly. Just give me a few minutes. Let me pick my password. Mr. Gebes, you have the Grammarly opened on your laptop. I'm trying to open mine and it's not.
Okay, I have it on my what's that thing called? My extensions.
Extension, okay.
Does that work?
Yes, but let me see if it's on. Yes, it should work. So I just want to explain.
Okay. Sorry, I'm just trying to, yeah.
Oh, okay. I've been able to log in.
You've done it. Okay. I was just trying to move it to another page.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Okay, so let me stop share and share my Okay, so this is Grammarly. This is what it looks like. This is the paid version, so it will be different from the free version. So some of you have the free version. I might not see all this, but this is the paid version. Yeah. So this is upload. Now you can either decide you can upload a document. So let's say you have your report typed in on your Word document. You can upload that Word document directly onto Grammarly, or you can copy the content and paste into Grammarly. So let me pick one. Let me pick one a document so I can see how it would edit it for us. Sorry, hold on. Trying to open my Word. Okay, so let me pick one. C, Control C. Good. So I've copied one. Let me paste. Control V. Let's see if this one is not edited. Yeah. So can you see? It has what highlighted some things, some errors for us, isn't it? Now it says Joshua has been a good member of our class. He sometimes writes with depth and insight. He also displays the ability to understand concepts, especially when he is calm. Now it says what he is. Why? It says it appears that he is may be unnecessary in this sentence. Consider removing it. Now let's remove it and see if the sentence would make sense. It says, now see, it sometimes writes with depth and insight. It also displays the ability. It has highlighted displays the ability as well. Now let's see. It says what? The phrase displays the ability to may be worthy. Consider changing what? The wording. Now it says what? Display the ability can be changed to what? To can. Okay. Now, before you edit, you also look at it and say, okay, Grammarly is not in your class. Grammarly doesn't know. It's just working based on okay, what's called how it should be and all that. But for you, if you change it to can, does that can work for you or work for that child? Does it still convey the information you want it to convey? Remember when we talked about what's called that be concise, be straightforward. Now it said what that we have is too wordy, and we need to what avoid wordiness. Now let's look at if it makes sense. He also can understand concepts, especially when calm and organized. We have worked with him this time to enable him understand. Now it says what the word understand appears repeatedly in this text. Consider using a synonym in its place. Okay, now you can see, you can understand. There's another understand, understand. That's not what we've used too many words. Understand. Let's change this one to what? To synonyms. So understand is what? No. Okay. This time it enables them to know. It highlighted the no as well. Now let's see why. It appears that the verb no should be in the infinitive form. Consider adding the word to. We have worked with him to this time to enable him to know the importance. That makes sense. To know the importance of what? Of certain word. Now it has highlighted this one again. Said what? This time enable him to. He said what? You should change to what? To let him to. To let him know the importance of what? Of certain word and not rushing over activities. We hope that this is also reinforced. Now I said this reinforced is what? Is passive voice. Okay? This sentence appears to be written in the passive voice. Consider writing it in what? In active voice. Now let's see if it will give us what? Suggestion. So you have so many things written out. Said so can I say example passive? What benefits are offered? Active. What benefit does the company offer? So how do we change this? Now, if you are wondering, okay, how do I change from passive voice to active voice? You can highlight this sentence, yeah, from we to holiday and what, based on ChatGPT, and say that ChatGPT should change it from what, to change that highlighted one is also reinforced what to passive voice. Okay, and to active voice, and to give you what the active voice of what of this. So we talked about that GPT before, so we know how to maneuver away what's called on ChatGPT. So just copy it and paste and say what change words to active voice, and to change it to what to active voice. You can also copy it and paste on our normal Google and say Google, what is it? Change this word to active voice, and to what change to active voice for us. Okay. So we have this. It said what? Your sentence may be unclear or hard to follow. Consider rephrasing. Okay. So click on what? Let's rewrite for what? For clarity. So it's clear, it's concise. This time we have worked with him to let him know the importance of settling well and not rushing over activities. We hope that this is also reinforced over the day. We hope that what this is, or this will be reinforced. Let's see. This will be reinforced. So we've changed from what? Let's say, is this still a passive voice? Say passive voice. This will, like I said, put on give what the active was the or we'll be reinforcing this over the holiday. Yes. So you can change the entire sentence and say we will be reinforcing this over the holiday, or reinforce this over what the holiday. Do you understand? So it becomes active, like something that to be doing. Then we are certain that it will produce. So he said, well, we are confident, or we are sure. So you are showing the parents that yes, it will change. There's going to be what changes. Do you understand? We are confident that that's what it would produce if it's punctual, organized, and to your comma. Can you see? Say what there's no comma for your hand, so it's put the comma. So can you see what it did for you? It's what it's the same thing you are trying to say. It didn't change the meaning of what of what's called what you're trying to convey, or the objective of what you're trying to pass along. It only changed what made it what more meaningful. It made it what more clear, more concise. It made it more what it allowed that to what to flow with it. Okay, rather than you just sit down on your own and write. You have all these AI tools at your disposal. Okay, any question?
Please, Mr. Larry.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
You've not answered my question. You say you were going to answer it. Does one download it?
No, like I said, you can add that as an extension. Okay, it has a desktop app as well. So if you are working on what's called on your Microsoft Word, for example, you can download the desktop version. There's a desktop app. Let me search. Let me see. Grammarly desktop app. There's a, like I said, there's a Chrome extension. Grammarly download. So you have what your desktop app, okay? So you can download it for your desktop, or you can add it as what as the extension, like we did when we did what's called add as the extension, or you go to the website. So the website is what is app.grammarly.com or grammarly.com, and you sign in. That's you register, and what's called you're able to use the free version. Okay. Like I said, the free version is what is different from the paid version. You know, definitely a paid version would have more function than the free version. But the free version can still do one or two things for you. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Hello, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
That's what I wanted to ask you because I have Grammarly on my system, which I've been using before now. But the fact still remains that we have to pay for it if we want to have the best. Because that's the unpaid version, don't change passive to active voice. You only change maybe your tenses and corrections, maybe misspelled words. So it can never be effective except we pay for it.
Yes. But what's it called? You can link up with what's called Miss UT. You can give you the paid version at the cheaper rates.
Yearly, or is it for the year? For the year,
So,
what?
It's monthly. There's yearly, there's monthly.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Any other question? Okay. In the absence of no question, I think we can call it a day. Do you have any addition?
So well, I mean, to be honest, you pretty much covered it. I think the only thing I would like to add is when we're giving so we've talked about formative assessments and summative assessments. When we're giving feedback in the classroom, please don't write things like, this is just an aside. As I was preparing for my session for this evening, it just occurred to me that I don't remember if we talked about it. We probably did. But when you're giving formative assessments, it's supposed to help the child do better. So you don't write things like great job, well done, improve, write better. No, those things are not saying anything to the child. So you actually, what summative assessments do for you is when you go there, instead of saying good job, you actually tell the child, oh, this work that you did is great, but do you want to maybe change this particular part of your handwriting because I can't see it well? So that is formative. The purpose of a formative assessment is to create a form, is to help the child get better. So that means we must be doing something that moves that child to the direction where we want the child to go. So I just wanted to quickly write that, because I mean, your reports, for example, are mostly based on some of them are summative assessments, but the reason why we add a portion where you write in your report is because you're helping the parents see how you have helped the child to improve. So let us not leave it in the report. Let us actually be doing something about it in our classrooms. Okay, so well done, well done.
Ma'am, please
go ahead.
Yeah, like what you just said. You said in the formative during formative assessment, we don't need to write good job or something, if I understand.
No, okay. So I'm saying, so I'm saying that when a child finishes writing their notes, for example, and we just write good job, or we write things like it's not okay or redo. What is good job, right? What exactly is good job, and how would that child know what specifically they did to elicit good job? Right? So we need to be more concise. Remember, part of communication is conciseness. You need to be more concise, more clear about exactly what this feedback you're giving the child is. Specific. Thank you very much for that, Olawale. Don't just say things like great job, because it's not saying anything at the end of the day, right? You need to be able to say, great job. I really liked how you wrote paragraph 2. or I really like how you finished and concluded this assessment. Something, you need to write something that helps the child know, oh, this is what I need to keep doing. And then they can keep doing that and keep getting good job. And if they didn't do a good job, you need to also, in the other way, write it clearly, right? So that they know this is what you didn't do that was not a good job. Because guess what? Formative assessments are to help the child improve. Summative, you are checking to say, you did good, you did bad. But in informative, you are actually helping them change and improve. And to do that, we need to give them something to improve on. Yes, Taiwo, you have your hand up. Does that answer your question, Mercy?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so ma,
Yeah.
I have a question, ma. When you were talking, you talked about when we are marking that we should not put good job and like that. So for preschool, you know, when I'm marking, I will just like call them. Do you know this number 8? You didn't write it very well. Okay, can we try it and write it better? But I will
Okay.
still write it there because I've written a full report before for them. Like maybe I wrote your formation of number 8 needs to improve. And somebody saw it and was like, are you writing it for a child, for the child, or for the parent to see? Who are you writing it for? So I
Okay.
now stopped writing it and I started writing good job and they're like, but
But
I
it's even
always
good,
do
right?
is I
For me, I
call
would take,
them and
to be
tell
honest,
them that
what they did.
yes, that's
Yeah.
what I do. So I want
Yeah.
to know if I'm good with that.
To be honest, that feedback somebody gave you and said, are you writing this for the child or for the parent? I would honestly have taken that feedback and start to write it for the parent and say things like, your child did a great job here, but they need to learn how to form letter H properly, right? That becomes directed at the parent, because at the end of the day, the parents should be doing something at home as well. And remember, good classroom practice nudges the parents in the right way, right? Nudges them to be doing the right thing. So I love the fact that you call the child to you and give them feedback and say, oh, you know what, let's rewrite this number 8 properly. A curve, a circle and a circle, you know, whatever. You give them that feedback, but still, you know, put that in the notes so the parents see what needs to be done or to not be done by the child. But yes, well done for at least going the extra mile to sit down and write, show the child what needs to be done. Thank you, Ayoni Mufe, for that example you gave in the chat box. I love it. So you said, good job for using the spelling words correctly in a sentence. So that is fabulous, right? Fabulous. For me in preschool, to be honest, I'll probably put a heart shape because that's something that they might understand. They can't get what you wrote. Yeah, for the parents, exactly. Yeah, I like that. We should do that. I'll probably do that. I'll probably maybe have a flower stamp and put a flower and stuff like that, you know, because to be honest, in preschool, I don't even think we should be writing or great, but every school is different. So I'm not really going to focus on that. But yeah, the feedback, they might not really know what you wrote. So you calling them, I think that's just a very beautiful way of doing that. So I really like it. Yes, I'll probably use a heart shape in preschool, you know, something like that. Yeah, well done. Because for us in preschool is the effort, isn't it? That they even tried to do something. If a child scores 10 over 10 in numeracy, can't we just do good job? Well, you've already graded it stickers. Thank you, Olayemi. Fantastic. Exactly, Damilola, stickers. If a child scored 10 over 10, so yeah, you've already scored them 10 over 10. You can say good job for the effort you put into scoring this, right? So for me, the child needs to tie in the good job to something. That's what I'm trying to say. What is this good job tied to, right? So it's tied to effort, right? Good job for them practicing well before your assessment. So I need us to think, when they go from here, what else can they do or keep doing to inform the behaviors we want to see? Do you get what I mean? Good job honestly doesn't inform the behavior. It just says they should keep scoring 10 over 10. So when they don't score 10 over 10, but they still put in as much effort or put in a lot of effort, but just because it's a difficult thing, so what do? How would they feel, right? They've tied their abilities to 10 over 10 or to scoring everything. Meanwhile, it's not about that. It's because they did something that made them score 10 over 10. So what you're trying to do is to create a repeated action of that thing that made them score 10 over 10. I know I'm going extra. Sorry, if you know, I just generally go extra. Yeah, exactly, Olawale. I love that. The child should get feedback that motivates them to want to do more. Absolutely. Okay, so you guys have not agreed whether or not we're meeting on Zoom tomorrow for our final session. Fantastic. Yes, I love the chats. I mean, you guys have grown. Ayonimofe, can you believe this? That is you that is talking like this. Hey, see, everybody, you guys have grown so much across the space of 4 weeks. It's almost unbelievable. Wow. I mean, even the way your thought processes, are switching really quickly with the right mindset. I just love it. I love how it is no longer, it started with all the problems we were having in the classroom and just tired and frustrated. But right now, you guys have gone to that place where you're like, you know what? We're doing this. Let's try this. Let's try this. Let's try this. And that is just phenomenal. 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 I feel like a mama. I feel like my babies have grown. And that is honestly fantastic. 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 Well done. Well done, guys. Well done. This is really good. Really good. Really good. I'm so happy when I'm reading these comments. They make me very, very excited. Very excited. Where's our pastress? She's not in class this evening. Glory. I'll be Gloria. Okay. All right. She's not in class this evening. Well done, guys. Well done. Well done. Well done. We will let you know if we're gonna do a final Zoom session tomorrow. All right. So keep your questions. Or write your questions. And let's sort of address them in our your mic, and let's sort of address them in our session tomorrow. But that's the final session. Of course, we're still in the group, right? So if you have any questions, please keep asking the questions. But well done to all of you. I'm so excited about the many amazing things that I'm going to hear about you guys from your leaders. So well done, congratulations. Have an amazing evening. You're going to get some work to do. Okay, yes, you're going to get a bit more work to do, but then we're going to spend time marking the work you've already done during this period and giving you individualized feedback. All right, so well done once again. Have an amazing evening. For those of you who are going to join me in the Zoom session later, I'm sure UT will drop the link. I'll see you guys at 7. Otherwise, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have an amazing evening. Thank you, Damilola. Thank you, Taiwo, Rebecca, Yonimo, for everybody. God bless you guys. Yeah, we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks, Fusha. Thanks, Mary Jane. Thank you all so much. God bless you.